we've got the head of department from the fashion lifestyle, from the fashion communication and styling department, Professor Poonam Mishra, an absolutely incredible tutor, educator, motivator, and a unique combination of someone who is a great balance of the right brain and the left brain. So she's got a great sense of business as much as she's got a great sense of creativity. Been associated with ISDI for a very long time, actually right from the very start, almost over what, I think 7 years now, Poonam, and leads this particular department as well as the postgraduate department, which is fashion business management. Poonam has also been associated in the past with organizations like Zara, Debenhams, Disney, and of course as an educator in various other schools currently at ISDI. She is also joined today by 4 of her brilliant students who will present to you the body of their work and the kind of work they do in the fashion styling and communication department. We've also been joined by a celebrity guest who is the first and the last name when it comes to fashion styling. And the lady needs very little introduction, but she is Archana Valavalkar, and I'm sure Poonam is going to introduce Archana once again while she addresses all of you. Everyone that you would dream to dress, whether it's Alia Bhatt or Priyanka Chopra or Deepika Padukone or Aishwarya Rai or Shahid Kapoor, have all been styled at some point by Archana. Other than that, she also runs India's leading styling technology company called Style Crackers, and she's the founding director of this particular organization, which is also dressed not just celebrities, but pretty much everyone across the country. And I'm sure she's going to tell you more about what this organization does. She's also recruited some of our students in the past, and I'm sure Archana is going to share a little bit of that with you as well. On that note, I really want to hand over to Poonam, the head of department, to tell us what we are going to, what's planned for today, Poonam, and all excited to listen to you.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. It's always a great pleasure to come here and speak to these new students. I don't know if they're students right now, but a new set of people, young ladies and lads who are really interested in joining and creating a career in fashion. It's always exciting to also know what is it that motivates them to join and be a part of this really huge, exciting, and very challenging industry. We have a really nice plan today. I'm going to present my program, a very comprehensive view. I have my students who are going to sit and who have prepared some of their work slides, and they're ready to share some of the experience that they've had, and they're going to speak from their heart. These are the senior year students who have assembled here. So out and out, we are here to educate, inform you as much as we can about this program, because I've always heard that people still don't understand what exactly is fashion communication styling. Fashion design is extremely popular in our country, but let me tell you, and if I may say, it just makes just 20% of the industry that fashion is. Beyond that is fashion business, fashion communication, extremely key today, and the entire business of fashion, operations, value chain, everything. So I'm going to start with a presentation that is going to take you through this entire journey. Abhyuday, I'm not able to share my screen now. I don't know. I was trying. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, Poonam, it is.
Okay, great. So to start off with, we are called the School of Fashion, Lifestyle and Business. What we have is the Fashion Communication and Styling undergrad program and the Postgraduate Fashion Business program. Both of these programs come under the School of Fashion, Business and Lifestyle. I believe, we are an extremely dynamic program. Like I said, we make the most part of this fabulous industry. So taking also on all our collective learnings from the past year, this unique pandemic year that hit us all, We've also sort of rewired our program to meet the new challenges of the new world, and which is going to be extremely important for fashion because a lot has changed in this industry. So, me and a very efficient team of my faculty have redefined our curriculum, our FCS program, and we have faith that we're going to write the new rule book of fashion along with, of course, our students at ISDI. In the digital classroom, in the phygital classroom as college opens, and a program that is going to, that is going to equip our students for both the real as well as the virtual world. So I think this is, like I've said, it's a fabulous, major, amazing, and a groundbreaking program. And who makes it such is obviously the students who enroll in this program. All right, that's absolutely something that we have no issues about. Now, as far as the program structure goes, it's very thoughtfully devised. It is a confluence of fashion processes and systems. And also it has business strategy, communication strategy, and experience design. So it's a confluence of largely three things that come together to create this UG FCS program. If you look at my slide, these are the larger areas that the program takes care of. Mostly in the systems, you'll understand culture, styling, a little bit of business models, how they're changing, tech intervention, communication and experience design takes care of the core design strategy, which is very important, digital escalation, fashion writing and communication, journalism, activism, lifestyle experience, new media, because it's no more traditional and digital. We've gone way ahead, and hopefully it's changing. I mean, actually it's going to change majorly. The business strategy is very important because after all, everything is a business. And here it's about new markets, it's about fashion luxury, it's about fashion marketing, it's about the whole lifestyle that is inspired by fashion, and definitely how to create great brands. So that is what the whole structure in a nutshell for the program is. uh, we have a great, amazing blend of faculty teaching the students in FCS. They are a blend of academicians and also industry professionals, because a program like FCS, I believe, has a very strong requirement to incorporate real world experiences, because without that, this learning is of no use. It kind of is very dated, and fashion is hyper changing. So even if it's slow, it is still very hyper. So you need people who have very strong work roles and come back and teach the same to our students. So it's very, it's a great blend of industry and academics. I'm also now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the quick synopsis that I've prepared to just so that you get a good overview of what the program entails. And I'm going to start with Fashion Styling 1, because that is what you have signed up and come in for. Fashion Styling 1 starts with your sophomore year, which is your first year in the specialization. It also very carefully runs along other two courses, which is History of Fashion and Fashion Photography. Courses are very beautifully interconnected so that you take skills and use skills from different other courses and blend them together to create great outcomes. Now, when I say Fashion Styling 1, it's about developing your thought, understanding fashion from the cultural lens, applying it in styling, applying it in imagery, and then, of course, the ability to communicate through this fashion imagery. And of course, be ready for whether it's print, it's interpretation in other media. And of course, this also creates many trends. In fact, stylists are the new trend setters. They are the new visionaries. So I think a lot of it depends on how you put and how you understand your fundamentals in the sophomore year. So moving on, like I said, history of fashion is a subject that helps you understand human behavior through socio-cultural lenses and context, but also it's a study of human existence across time and key movements, key style movements within a given time frame. And then you develop a very critical, analytical understanding to be able to then apply to your projects. This again is then supported by fashion photography. Fashion photography is largely, imagery, fashion imagery. The first important aspect that hits you. And everybody's well acquainted by the power of fashion imagery, and I think that is one of the reasons most of us also get acquainted with fashion. So it's about connecting your skills and applying these skills in many other courses. And also it's professional, because you not only learn about photography, you actually go out and practice photography in the studios. So that's about the combination of history of fashion, fashion styling, and fashion photography, that takes care of a lot of things where you learn to appreciate skills, culture, politics, economy, technical know-how, and many other things to develop into a very strong professional. I am then going to go to fashion styling too, which is taken in the senior year, of course, but I'm mentioning it here because this is the advanced level of fashion. It's very conceptual. It is very experimental. You are a grown-up, mature student, and hence a lot is expected out of you. So the understanding of your visual style, understanding of society, and of course, then application to create this very conceptual, novel, outcome. And that is about fashion styling too. The next is, of course, analyzing trends. Analyzing trends also is something like trends and forecast. So we also look at many factors that influence fashion. And of course, this course then demonstrates the trajectory of fashion through a method called trend analysis. And then you develop a trend report, and maybe also do a forecast for the brand, for a hypothetical brand or a real brand. So this is about the second bit, where you study styling and trends, analyze them, and look at forecast them for many needs of fashion. I have a student of mine who would like to share a little bit of her experience in her sophomore year. She's an absolute fresh sophomore. We just finished one semester with her, and I'd like her to hear you. Please let me know if you can hear her. Is the sound clear? Can you hear her?
No, not really, Poonam.
I'll play it again.
No, the sound is not coming.
Okay, just a second. Give me 2 minutes. Just give me a minute.
Hi, I'm Devika and I'm in my sophomore year.
Is that good?
Yes.
Yes, Poonam,
All
we could
right.
hear.
Hi, I'm Devika and I'm in my sophomore year. Fashion system orientation equipped me with planning and organization skills, and I learned a lot about the importance of meaningful communication. We analyzed our wardrobes and we learned about responsible consumption at the self level, and we implemented these learnings into social media awareness campaigns. We dug deeper into the world of subcultures and learned about the rise, the various interconnected factors that lead into the development of these subcultures through methods such as the pestilect. This course gave me an insight into the world of fashion communication, the industry, and how the two are interconnected, from primary, secondary, tertiary markets to how a concept is communicated to the masses. I learned a lot about the fashion making system, the role of various people involved at various steps, and the importance of changes in the industry, such as the ever evolving trends and the reasons behind these changes.
Okay, so moving on, we have the fashion business vertical, which is about understanding business perspectives in the fashion industry. Of course, understanding business models, their successes, what is key to them, how they're changing is all taken care. There is another pathway that sets for business. So business studies is again starts with fashion business models, new markets. We move on to luxury brand communication, because as you move ahead, your canvas also becomes bigger, and that's when you start understanding luxury, which is a very niche segment of fashion. Luxury is about communicating legacy. Also, it's about new luxury, global luxury, the change of luxury, and of course, understanding and applying brand communication and brand strategy. Next is visual merchandising, a great combination of creativity and market strategies. So this is something, again, you learn in senior year. Visual merchandising is changing post-COVID. What does experience design, physical space, how should it communicate? People are very wary to go to, people want to go for, they don't want to go for in real experience. They're very much fixated to go for e-commerce. But, how do you design new experiences in spite of a challenge is what we have redefined the visual merchandising program. The next course I'm going to talk to you about is visual communication, absolutely key for any communicator, be it, or actually for any designer. Visual communication is almost synonymous with fashion. So, if you talk fashion, it's visual communication. Basically, it's about digital transformation, psychological perceptions, semiotics of fashion, brand design, identity. Again, it has many levels within this course itself. So you learn about these different things. Fashion writing is also a part of communication. Fashion writing also has multiple pathways. You start with basics of writing, and then you move on to writing for business, moving on to developing narratives, which is extremely important because storytelling creates great trust in a brand. And then how do you take that forward, create great emotional connects, and then that is what is key to a success of a fashion brand. So again, you'll have levels in fashion writing. Of course, the learning pedagogy is very, very dynamic at ISDI. We are very, very clear. How do we communicate these things with you? Definitely, we are in the digital classroom phase right now, but we've never compromised on the kind of learning that our students should be, experiencing. We've always kept learning interactive, inquiry-based, reflective, integrative, and collaborative. You must have learned the way we integrate many subjects, the way students have to critically analyze every outcome. Reviews, critiques are based on questioning and students always begin with research. So that's investigation, strong investigation. Also, the experiential studio, so the combination of the physical and the digital is again very exciting. Students learn through many projects that they do in studios and workshops and labs. I also said collaborative studio. This is very important. Collaborative studio is one of their touch points with industry. This is a live project that students do. These are some of the brands that we have been, this is the current in the digital classrooms that we worked with just the past semester, whether it's and you can see many really great upcoming brands and labels in fashion. So there is one brand that these students worked with. It's called Teatro Dora. It comes from Jaipur. It's also a great time for our students to interact with industry. And also, I think it's a time to kind of grow up and come on their own. So this is very independent. We are always there, but collaborative studio is also an independent studio where they not only get connected to people they want to work with, they carry on a live project throughout a semester. They put on a complete application and a project, live application of a project. And then, of course, it's testified by the founder, by the faculty, and maybe peers as well. Of course, that's always there. Peer review is always a part of the curriculum. So let's hear it from one of our students who just finished one of the projects. This is the one that she did with a Jaipur-based brand, and she lives in Bangalore. So let's hear it from her.
Hello everyone, I'm Divya, and I'd like to provide you with an insight into my experience with fashion marketing and communication for Dora, a Jaipur-based jewelry brand. Team project from the start, our group contacted and worked closely with Avriti Jain, Dora's young founder. One thing we realized from the start was that, like any other entrepreneur, Avriti had a certain vision for her brand and its aesthetic. Thankfully, me, along with my wonderful team, was able to put our best foot forward and work to convert our individual prowesses into one single project. My personal creative language was something that was very much in sync with the brands, and that helped me immensely at each step. We worked multiple jobs, from website refurbishment to writing blogs that were soon published. We also participated in its social media handling and designing, alongside also capturing aesthetic imagery of the brand's products. After weeks of research, technical assistance, creative designing, and idea strategizing, we completed with a brand film that aimed to explore the concept of taking a break from the expectations set on us through the pandemic. All of this left us with an understanding of the intricacies of the fashion marketing, as well as with an extended internship due to a job well done. Poonam was also one strong anchor for us through and through. Thank you.
Moving on, I have one more student. We also teach fashion films and fashion motion graphics. This is another student. Again, a quick review on how her experience was with this particular project.
Hello everybody, I'm Ritu. I'm studying fashion communication and styling and I'm in my third year currently. And today I want to tell you all a little bit about my experience in the course fashion motion graphics. Since this was a completely new subject, it was a little challenging and nerve-wracking to be honest, but it was really exciting. Our project was actually a brand collaboration and my teammates and we worked with a brand called Studio Wum. It's an Indore-based jewelry brand that creates contemporary as well as handcrafted jewelry. For them, what we had to do is we had to create a film that would depict their brand identity in a better manner and yet keeping the brand's aesthetic in mind. It took us a while to actually come up with the right concept for the brand, but once we did, our faculty really helped us in pushing through the entire process. This was the first time that we were actually directing it, styling as well as modeling for the entire project, and it was a little hectic and challenging, but I think we pushed through. We took help from one of our friends to shoot it in the right manner so that it would look extremely professional, and the rest of the work was done by us. But later when we showed the video to the client, she really liked it as well, and even though it was in COVID times, I think we pushed through, and all in all, it was a great experience. Thank you.
Moving on, like I said, our pedagogy is not only classroom, digital classrooms and master classes are one of the most important things. We've always had people visiting. I think everybody who's important in fashion, at least from India, has come to ISDI. Of course, I can never not mention Susie Menkes and the entire crowd that you can see here has been a part of many different events and participations that we've done. So master classes, expert opinions, expert advices are always a part of learning. This is another one that we did with House of Misu. They had come here. We'd done a very nice live interview with them with students' questions, and we'd had a very good time. They were very excited to be a part of this engagement. We've also learned through summits and talks that happen periodically in ISTI. This is a summit that we've done on New Dimension in Fashions with Nonita Karla, who was the editor of Harper's Bazaar. And of course, she is Preeti Suktankar, who's the founder of the label Life. Then, of course, there are always reviews, critiques, showcases. There are constant part of your will be a constant part of your studies. You can never escape these things. This is part of design's life. You will have people opinionating on your work, and everything is to be taken in a constructive way because this really helps your growth. Parsons review, annual reviews are very important for our students because they come in, they review our student work, and this is some of the, this is bits and pieces of the Parsons faculty who's our counterpart and also leads the fashion program in New York. He had come over, Jason Cass, and he was reviewing our student work. Then there is Yvonne, who came in last year. She reviewed our work. Of course, there is beyond Parsons, there's an entire global connect that ISDI has, and many people, whether be it UAL, LCC, Paris schools, fashion schools from there have come and reviewed many projects of our students, have always appreciated. Students have been extremely confident once they get the feedback, and many students have also gone to complete their higher education and moved abroad to finish that. So there's a great network, India, abroad, of our fashion kids across. You never actually, I think at some point in time, you never feel alone because, I've had my own experiences in many different parts of the world. People actually, I've bumped into my students who are studying in many different schools. So, that's a great advantage. We've also had design fests and people coming in speaking. That also adds to your learning. That's Miss Malini and Bandana Tiwari here. Live editorial shoots, taking classroom activities and having experts demonstrate this in a live demonstration is another way of learning. Many field trips, visits to luxury stores, high street, fashion walks, museums, a back end of the city where fashion is created, And of course, offices, so industry experience, industry engagements, we've been very, very proactive about it. Whether it is, this one was a field trip that they went to Vogue studio, a Vogue office, and they had actually attend a press conference along with them, because Vogue was preparing for something, and the students were a part of this entire program. Then, of course, this was one of the visits that we'd done at Hermes. They had specially curated this for our students, an exhibition, but they had, Hermes always every year comes with an exhibition, and they keep a slot for ISDI students to come and visit. That was another part of the fashion luxury trail, attending Luxury Fashion Week, doing more studio work, working with professional photographers, models, and of course our very own events, which I'm not too sure if you're accustomed, but the Front Row Project, Runway to Racks, and Style It Up. It's always taken care of by the fashion and communication students, because we're not only the people who have conceptualized these events, but we are also the people who actually make it happen. So every student has to go through these activities, and events are great learning. They're absolute practical learning. Besides this, many other, and I've just put them quickly because that is the only time that we just have that much time to take you through. But many visits, whether it's Christian Louboutin, Sabyasachi store, Lakme Fashion Week, and we have the students who will also tell you about their experiences when they have visited and interned with them. This has also continued throughout the digital classroom, and we've always still invited people to review our student work and give them constructive feedback. Industry interface is super important. Like I said, we're very proactive, but not only it's one way, it's also two way. Our students have also gone intern and created great amount of content for many leading magazines, be it Vogue, Elle, Verve, Femina, Hello, Good Homes, Grazia. It's constant. There's just recently one of our students also contributed to Grazia. So this is a constant churn that keeps happening. It's a give and take both. So that's another edge that you have in the program. There are many career opportunities that you have with a program like Fashion Communication and Styling, because it is multidimensional, it is diverse. So here are a few that you can, whether you're self-employed, entrepreneurial, or wanting to work in corporate for fashion, you can work in business of fashion, you can work in communication, design of fashion, and of course, fashion processes. So these are different pathways that are open to you. Our students, now coming to the most important and the most exciting bit of this talk is student journey. In this program, I've always promoted the fact that you can go out, take an internship, and also balance your academics, provided you can balance it. Otherwise, it's not that, ma'am, I'm not attending class and I'm doing this. At certain times, that's fine, but we've always encouraged people to do internships while they're learning. So this is one of my alumna, Diva. She's right now heading the brand strategy at Dayani Jewelers. But if you look at her 3 years, she's worked in Verve as a fashion stylist. She's worked with El Sol as social media intern, and she's also interned with Miss Malini. These are just a few. There are many things that she did while she was learning with us in school. Most of our last year's alumni, the Batch of Fashion 2021, is all placed, but maybe next time we'll let you know a little more about it. Currently, I'm going to call a really dynamic student of mine. Her name is Yashvi Arora. She's absolutely a fun, extempore, why do I say dynamic? Is because she's full of energy. She has great ideas. If you look at her, journey, she's had many things that she's done, which look very exciting. She's always been somebody who's always been in the forefront and done, and somebody who really actually defines what an ideal fashion communication student should be. She's going to come here and tell you a little bit about her experience. She's had the opportunity to work at Paris Fashion Week backstage, work with Manish Arora, work with Style Lumia, an AI-based firm, Vidya Tikari, who's a makeup artist, and me, Groomify, where she was a model manager. Yashvi, I hope you're here.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome, Yashvi, and I'm going to now, give it to you to talk to, the audience about your experience.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good evening, everyone over here. My name is Yashvi Arora, and I'm a senior student of fashion communication and styling. I'm delighted to tell you all about my experience of working with Manish Arora. He has such a distinct and unique way of showing his fashion. I was so happy and so fortunate to be able to work with him. I still remember my first day of working with him. I was extremely nervous, and he comes in a blue and a gold color ambassador car and comes straight to me and asks, "Why do you want to work here?" His presence was so big in the room that I actually started blabbering. I don't know what I said, and that was his first impression of me. Fingers crossed, like after that, obviously, I tried harder to make it better. My job description over there ranged from styling, photography, social media management. I help with merchandising, I help with production. Basically, anywhere they need you, you have to be there to help them out. Meanwhile, I also made a lot of connections with models, photographers, art directors, and a lot of people working backstage, which really helped me out. Also, one of the most important things that I did realize was how important the work of the karigars is and how much they work day in and day out to finish this one collection. I was helping them work for the Resort 2020 collection, which was supposed to be showcased in Paris Fashion Week. From some miracle, my boss asked me, "Oh, would you like to come with us?" I jumped at the opportunity and I was like, "I'll be there." And next month, I flew with them down to Paris. Before the show, it was complete chaos. It doesn't matter if you're a manager, if you're a student, an intern, a department head, everybody had to get work together, and everyone's fixing something with glues, safety pins, just to get it done. The show went so successfully and it was so beautiful to watch. I was able to be present there backstage, help them with makeup, styling, as well as I saw the Vogue shoot that happens that gets updated on their website every year. Post the show, we took all the garments, went back to the studio where I learned a little bit about visual merchandising and how a product needs to be placed in a particular way and why something needs to be shown in front or behind. The most important reason for setting up that studio was buyer meetings, which is one of the most important things in fashion business, where I met this vast amount of clientele, people from the Middle East, people from North Korea, people from Tokyo, people from everywhere, and how each of them had such a distinct way of choosing what kind of clothing they wanted for their own brand. It was so exciting to see all of that and to be able to see fashion showcased, traded, and styled so beautifully internationally was one kind of experience which I will never be able to forget. And I was so fortunate to see trends changing and fashion change in front of my eyes, and to be able to go to Paris Fashion Week with one of the best team in India is something I will never forget, and I'm so fortunate of. And I hope everyone over here does get an opportunity like that, and I wish everyone over here best of luck for the future, and I hope you guys have as much fun as I did. Thank you.
Wow, Yashvi, that was quite a bit. And thank you so much for coming in today and sharing this experience of yours. Even I was like, wow, this is such a, it's something that I would love to do again.
Yeah,
it's so exciting, right?
I would do it all over again.
Absolutely. And let's see, hopefully we will, right?
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming in. I'm going to now move on to another student of mine, another really dynamic, boy who's always, he also, it's very unfair to say ABC defines fashion communication. All of them are distinct and all of them have such a special thing about themselves. But especially Param, Param always is a person who actually, Param, I think you represent the program. You're a great mix of creativity, business acumen, and of course, communication, which is your forte. So I think, why don't you come over and tell us a little bit about your experience. Of course, if you look at Param's student journey graph, he's had so many experiences, and he's also had multi-dimensional roles that he's played, whether it's 6 Degrees, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger. He's worked with as a design analyst also at an art gallery, Bombay Shirt Company, social media marketing, brand strategist that he was actually involved with. He's also currently working with a company called Style Nook. So Param, over to you. Most welcome, and let's hear it from you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Poonam ma'am. So hello, I'm Param Suru. I'm a final year student from Fashion Communication and Styling. And today I'll be talking about one of the very first internships that I did in sophomore year. I was recruited by a multi-designer agency called 6 Degree, which works to promote private labels and designers in India. I was hired as a part of the content creation and media team. And a lot of the work in the beginning of the internship included setting up the groundwork for what was to come. And what was to come was Lakme Fashion Week, as they were one of the sponsors for the Fashion Week. And a lot of our clients, which were designers, were showing at the Fashion Week. So a lot of the work included ideation of shoot plans for lookbooks, then sourcing for props, scouting models, then editing these lookbooks. And what I realized was that the foundation and the work that goes in before the days of the show are actually crucial and usually more busy than the days of the actual show. And this is only coming from the experience of being in the content team. Like as you heard Yashvi speak about how her experience was different, it was because her role was also different. Then during Fashion Week, my job was to attend the shows and the private viewings and to make sure that I capture the essence of the shows and that it can be then reported on the social media of the company. So on the day of the actual show where our designers had to present their collections, I had to actually set their set of models ready and then curate it with the stylists and to make sure that the final touches are all perfect on the outfit. My job on that day was to manage the showstoppers and capture the backstage and pre-show content actually. So after the show ends, we had to immediately rush the celebs and the media to the media room where the post event press conference would take place. And I would say that would be the most chaotic bit of Fashion Week is the fact that in India we have a very showstopper led Fashion Week scenario where a lot of the showstoppers are usually celebrities and they come with their own entourage, and there's a lot of hype that is created along with it, which you also have to face the brunt of being working for that company. Then you can go ahead. So after Fashion Week actually got over, it was the major chunk of our work that was actually, the physical bit that got over. It was now coming back to portraying what we did at Fashion Week and communicate it to the audience using social media. This involved a lot of execution and management of a lot of parties like the designer, influencers, celebrities, and everyone. And overall, I'd say it was a very stimulating and productive experience. And the cherry on top, I'd say, was the fact that one of the nights my boss sort of got tipsy and told me that he would love to offer me a PPO after I graduate. So it made me feel like my work was validated enough as well. So yeah, that was my experience at 6th Degree. Thank you so much.
Did he actually offer you that job later? Yeah, okay.
Let's
so
see once
fine.
I graduate.
All right. So, that's the advantage of working while you're still a student. There are many chances that there are many things that you chance upon, and that's the beauty of this industry as well. It's a lot of people. It's not necessarily to have it like only in a placement interview. There are many ways that people get their jobs. Networking is super important in our industry. It's a very people-led industry. So I think that was great for you. Thank you, Param. Thank you for sharing your journey. Moving on now. This is from the programmatic perspective, and of course, from the student's perspective, a little bit about the program that we have at ISDI. We are now going to move on to the main and the key part of this event. And I have somebody here extremely special, somebody who I really admire because, she's somebody who has just not been a fashion stylist, though she loves to be introduced as a celebrity stylist, but I think she brings a lot of meaning to the world, to the professional world of styling. She is somebody who's brought a very strong business perspective. She has made an entire industry out of this particular passion, and that is for me extremely admirable. I am now very much delighted to invite Ms. Archana Valvalkar, who's in the house with us today. Hi, Archana. Welcome. Archana is a celebrity stylist and the co-founder of Style Cracker. Archana is also India's first styling entrepreneur. Like I said, she co-founded Style Cracker, led the company to become a large fashion tech platforms. So infuse technology into fashion, into styling, into entrepreneurship. And she single-handedly made personal styling not only accessible to people, but also exclusive for each customer. It is her hard work and exceptional business acumen which is great in predicting patterns. And also, Stylecracker is somebody who gets that reputation because of what she brings to the table. It is also a one-stop digital platform for fashion-conscious Indian consumers. So the Indian perspective is very well taken care by Stylecracker. Archana personally has over 15 years of experience in fashion styling, having begun her career as a fashion stylist with Love VCL, the magazine. She then joined Vogue as a part of their founding team. Spent 5 years there as a fashion editor. Oh my God, Archana, this is endless, right? But I want to say it all. You have styled the biggest and the best of Bollywood for multitude of distinguished campaigns. It's a dream for, I think, everybody over here. Editorials, appearances. She's worked with celebrities from Ranbir Kapoor, Alia Bhatt, Deepika Padukone, I get goosebumps, Priyanka Chopra, Varun Dhawan, Aishwarya Rai, Shahid Kapoor, to name a few. Her vision is to make the fashion styling affordable in India and resonate with the fashion industry. And Alia is on the board of Stylecracker as a shareholder. Archana has also led exemplary fashion campaigns for business such as, now this is the commercial bit of fashion, whether it's Garnier, the corporate fashion that comes in, Garnier, Tanishq, Nissan, Shoppers Stop, FBB, Westside, Kalyan Jewelers, Fruity, to name a few. Named by Grazia as one of the 100 most influential people in fashion in India. Great time to strike a great conversation with her, probably to ask all the questions if that's allowed. Archana is one of the strongest voices in fashion and entertainment industry. As a thought leader, she influences the youth of the country and champions modern entrepreneurship. She continuously strives to give back through fashion and is making a lasting impression through her vision for fashion styling in India. Archana is also one of the sweetest person that I've known and is always ready to help us out in many things that we need her. Most welcome to this event, Archana, and it's all over to you.
Wow, Poonam, I think you need to take a big,
Yeah.
deep breath right now.
Yes.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so happy to see everyone here. And I hope that I can answer a lot of your questions and bring value to whatever it is, all the amazing stuff that each of you is going to create when you'll all graduate or join this program. And I can't wait to see all the exciting stuff each of you do. So thank you again for having me. Abhyuday, yeah, thank you for the presentation. All right, so it says, tell us something about you. Well, as Poonam mentioned, actually, she's pretty much covered everything I wanted to tell you all about my journey. But I've been, in working in the fashion industry for about 15 odd years now, and it's been quite a comprehensive and epic journey, if I may say so myself, because there've been lots of highs, lots of lows, but most importantly, it's taught me something that I think I'm gonna cherish for the rest of my life. And I guess I'm a fashion entrepreneur and a celebrity stylist, and I've worked in everything from editorial to doing ad campaigns and commercial work, working on costume design for films, for Bollywood films. Of course, editorial is something really close to my heart because I started with that, and also red carpet appearances and stuff for celebrities, and live stage performances for some of them, because that's a whole other league and whole other skill set of styling. And a little bit about myself, I'd say I think I'm pretty quiet. I'm more of a listener, and I express myself through my work. And the one thing I've learned in life is to always follow your gut, follow your instincts, because that tiny voice in your head knows exactly what it's saying. You just have to have the courage to follow yourself. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. And what's your next question? How did you, oh, sorry, this is covered, but how did your journey start, I guess, is what you're asking. Okay. I started with editorial styling after I got a degree in fashion design at SNDT in Juhu. And after that, at that point, obviously had zero contacts in the fashion industry. I was super naive and really new. I was all of probably, I don't even know, really young. Let's not reveal my age. But this was about 2 decades ago. And I had zero connects, as I mentioned, in the industry. So I had to start afresh. All I did was literally buy a magazine, look at the masthead, contact HR, write to them, follow up every single day, show them that I'm really interested in this. All I want is to get, get an in with the fashion director, and I just want to chat. I think I can bring a lot of value to your company, and hire me, because I think I'd be amazing at the job, and you'll see, I'll prove myself. So I was so fresh, I was so innocent, and all I wanted to do was work. And of course, it's been a long time since, and I've never taken a break until, of course, the pandemic, which, you know what, honestly, in hindsight, for me, hasn't been so bad to kind of also take this break and this breather to recuperate, rejuvenate, and, come up with fresh new ideas. So L'Officiel was the first magazine I interned at. And at that point, Condé Nast hadn't even come to India. And then Vogue decided to launch. And of course, it was beyond a dream. I don't think I'd even dreamed of it at that point. And I was offered to come on board. They had a really intensive interviewing process, and I got through, and that was sort of my start as a fashion stylist at Vogue. And then, of course, I grew in rank, and I worked there for about 5 years as the fashion editor. And that was really a very special time in my life, because I think that really it made me the person I am today. Of course, having access to the fashion industry, attending fashion weeks across Bombay, Delhi, Milan, Paris, just getting connected with this entire world of fashion internationally as well as locally, getting to work with some of the most incredible talent across our country, like, photographers like Prabhudas Dasgupta and Bharat Sikka, as well as internationally. I got to work with Patrick Dimashelia. I got to shoot with Giselle Bundchen and Gemma Ward. And it was just really something very special. But at the same time, what I want to mention here is that, people tend to look at just the glamorous side of things. But honestly, it was 5% glamour and 95% of hard work. I remember, for instance, there was this one underwater shoot that we were doing. And luckily, I'm someone who's very comfortable in the water. And we literally went to the Lakshadweep uh, on a wooden boat in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of nowhere, and jumped right in and, just started shooting in the deep sea. And we would be pedaling and swimming for 8 hours a day, quickly taking breaks, doing hair and makeup touch-ups, and then jumping back, well, not hair, but makeup touch-ups, and then jumping back into the water. So what I'm trying to get at is, it is a lot of physical manual labor. Being on shoots is not easy, as some of you may have experienced it, and some of you are yet to experience. But it takes a certain kind of resilience and grit, to do this job. And as I said, it's not just something pretty and vain, but I have a great amount of respect for every single stylist out there, because I know the pain, and I know everything that they've been through and how hard they've worked to sort of, be here. Post Vogue, so after about 5 years there, I decided that, I wanted to do something more. I wanted to push myself and come out of my comfort zone, because it had gotten so easy, right? Like, I would call up, I don't know, Givenchy, and they would send the latest collection. I would, speak to Christian Louboutin, and then they would be happy to collaborate and say. So, and of course, I was young at the time. I think I was 25 when I left Vogue, and it was sort of, I felt like I wanted to push myself out of this bubble. We had weekends off. It was a really cushy life. And I said no. Like, at 25, I think I have more to, I want to push myself a little bit more and do more. And that's when I started to launch my own independent styling company. and my first client was Deepika Padukone. So I'm really grateful, also to the industry, to the way everyone has supported me. And from there on, just the whole freelance journey started, where I was styling celebrities for, not just their ad campaigns and, working with some of the most incredible brands, but also various other magazine covers, some of what Abhyuday is showing us here right now. And I think one of the very interesting part about working with celebrities is that I got to launch a lot of new actors, and that for me is personally very exciting, because you get to create something brand new with a new face, a fresh face, and it's the story of how you tell it, and what exactly you want to, how you want to paint that picture. So, for instance, the shoot that just went by with Ishan and Janvi for Filmfare, I remember it was for their first film launch, Dharak, and the public had only seen them in the costume of the film and their characters. And then what I guess Johar asked me to do was, come up with this fresh new look for them, and introduce them out into the world. So I think as a stylist, it's really, really important to also get that, pulse of the market, to really understand what is it that's going to resonate with the audience. How do consumers think? What is it that's breaking down in their head when they're trying to, absorb this content? And post that, I started also working on Bollywood films with Karan only. He launched me in Dharma with Student of the Year. Again, it was a very special film because Varun and Alia were launched, and Sid were launched in that film. And the three of them who I've worked very closely with over the years. And of course, Alia definitely has a special place in my heart, also because she's someone who's just, always known about what I mean, because on set we talk and we discuss a lot of stuff. And she's always known about my ideas and what I wanted to do eventually in life. And I'm really grateful that you always supported me through this. So what I'm trying to get at here is these relationships that you build right through your career are going to be very, very, very crucial to the vision of what you have for yourself, what you've planned for yourself. So be honest, be free, be yourself 100%, and really, really believe in your ideas, because only when you believe in your idea and you're convinced by it can you convince someone else about it. So so roughly at this point, I'd finished styling about 5 to 7 films, and again, me being me, wanted to push myself a little bit further. And at this point, I really felt like I had a pulse on what young India thinks, what are the trends, how are they, what aspirational youth want in our country. And that's when I decided to switch into the whole e-commerce game of, which is slightly more massy, coming from my more luxury and celebrity background. Um, but of course, working with brands like, Tanishq and Fruity and Sunsilk and Shoppers Stop and Westside. So I had got a bit of a flavor and a taste of working with mass brands. And it took some kind of convincing, of course, to, take that leap and make that plunge. But I'm really, really glad I did, because about a decade ago, I decided to co-found Style Cracker, which is a styling and tech platform. And the idea behind it is, like, how did I come up with this idea, or what made me even do that, was that it started off as basically frustrated friends and family coming to me saying, I want to shop. I don't know what looks good on me. Where do I find it? How do I wear it? Am I even styling it in the correct way? What colors look good on me? So just like basic questions. And I was like, okay, there's a real gap in the market for something like this. Obviously, there is a problem here that we need to solve. And, how can we um, use tech in the most intelligent way, in the most human way, but at the same time, bring in a strong styling angle. So almost like a virtual stylist that you can have in your pocket 24/7. So that was sort of the idea in my head at that time. And of course, Stylecracker over the years evolved into, a mothership of its own. And we had a team of expert stylists that developed, through intelligent tech, curated looks and developed a box that's personalized just for you to suit your personality, body shape, your do's and don'ts in fashion, your style, your lifestyle, and most importantly, your budget. And we ended up shipping boxes to these kind of curated fashion boxes, to over 150 cities pan India. And then just sheer data and demand sort of drove this business, And for me personally, what was exciting was discovering cool young brands from across our country who are doing some incredible work and just building this ecosystem and giving them a platform, to showcase all their amazingness. And we also always, since day one, actually, we had a offline approach to Salcracker as well, because we thought that a touch and feel, a tangible side to the business is crucial. And that's when we launched something called the Salcracker Burrow and the night market, so the event side of things. Now, what that did was, from a marketing perspective, it gave visibility and eyeballs, right? And at the same time, we earned some cash, which was great for the business, because then it helped put all of that money back into the business to expand. And then we grew it from Bombay, Delhi, Pune, Ahmedabad, the offline side of it. And so I guess the first thing you all should be asking yourselves, if any of you all are even thinking of considering entrepreneurship and starting your own business, is that, is there a problem? Is there a gap? Is there a problem that you can solve? And is there a gap in the market? So I think that's a great place to start. And then, of course, create a business plan, structure your company. Tech today is, you can't avoid it. And especially, I think what this pandemic has done is pushed us all virtually, and everything has seamlessly sort of moved online. And I think, again, that's a huge, huge opportunity, instead of just looking at it, the negatives of what's happened over the last year. So I guess, if you all have any questions, or Abida, if you want to play the video at this point, you can go ahead. But then I just have a few more things I want to, talk about, like just my learnings and lessons, but I can do that after this video.
Fashion is what you buy. Style is what you do with it. When I started out, I struggled a bit. What color, what style, what accessory, I had no clue. And trust me, I needed help. I was a nay. And then I found my savior, my stylist, who understood me and helped me discover my style. My friends say I'm quite a generous person, a giver, some might say. So that's what I'm doing today, giving my stylist to you. But how am I doing this? Thoda sa suspense rakhna padega na. Stay tuned.
So this was one of the first announcements we'd made with Alia, again, about 8 or 9 years ago. And what was cool was, you shot this at the Salcracker office, actually. And she was completely on board. She was the one who ideated, and she was the one who directed everything and said, this is the way, let's do it like this. Let's keep it a little more candid. And I think what worked with bringing Alia on board with Salcracker was that it was a very seamless sort of collaboration. She's someone who is so in tune with what her audience wants, and what her fan base is looking for, and she's always looking at something to give back to them. And I think, which is why we collaborated really well together. So some of the common mistakes, I'd say, that people end up making when they're starting off, whether it is a new job or a new business venture or anything new, is that we tend to overthink, and we overanalyze, and we over-engineer. And what happens in that process is that we start to doubt ourselves. So the one thing I would say is, if you have an idea, first of all, pen down every single idea you ever have, because I believe that it helps you manifest it. And also, a lot of times when you start penning things down, you also are able to prioritize what you think works best for you, and where your skill set lies, your interest and passion lies. Because you have to remember, It's going to be something you're going to do over a very, very long period of your time, of your life. And, it is going to define you. So it better be something that you love doing, even on the days you absolutely hate it. But, that's the, I guess, staying connected to the why, the purpose behind why you started is what will help you propel forward. And of course, you need to have guts. As I said before, you need to have the courage. You need to have the mindset to kind of keep fear and doubt at bay. And most importantly, you have to be willing to move out of your comfort zone, because I believe that's where all the growth and learning happens. And I know it sounds like a quote or a textbook line, but honestly, it is the absolute truth. And then, of course, action it. Execution is very, very important. And with execution, of course, comes planning. So be getting organized and, go out there, figure out who your mentors are, talk to them, and sort of just make a decision and just keep advancing on that path. Some of the other learnings I've sort of had are that this business is brutal, but it is brilliant, and it requires a lot of perseverance. I'd advise everyone to take some time, some quiet time every single day, to, especially all the creatives, to, let your mind wander and, just have fun with the process as well. Don't get so caught up only in the execution side of things, because that's something at least I tend to do. And sometimes I feel like I lose touch with my creative side, and that actually is the most harmful thing you can do to yourself as a creative. So and also, when ideas don't work out, it's fine. Embrace failure. It's okay. Pick yourself up, work harder, keep moving forward. Remember that you're doing this for yourself and no one else, and what others think shouldn't really matter. But what's amazing is that you're having all these outstanding experiences for yourself that are shaping you, become the true person that you're meant to be. And that's the way I look at failure. One other point that I actually wanted to, that's, sorry, disconnected, but I also believe that feedback is very, very important in this industry also, because styling is something that's so personal, right? But a good stylist is someone who styles, not keeping their own style personality in mind, but being able to switch off and shift into the gear of the person or the client that they're styling for. So I think that's a really, really important quality to have, for any stylist, for any creative, to get into the head of the client and be able to decode and express, your own creative idea. Abhi, you there? I believe there was one more question you had.
Yes. Just give me a second.
Also, guys, please feel free to jump in at any point, yeah, if you all have any specific questions. Oh, this okay. The students. Yeah. So over these years, I've worked with a lot of ISDI students, and before I thank anyone, I want to thank the faculty here, because it just goes to show what a comprehensive course it is that you guys have here for every student. Because when they come to us, they are already sort of fully equipped. There's not that much we need to train them in. And what's nice is we can literally just get the ball rolling and put them on the job. And I have to say, in my personal opinion, with ISDI and another college, the students have been really, really enthusiastic. They've been very eager to learn. They come with great, fresh ideas. And that's honestly what we're looking for, right? We're not looking at someone to just come and follow A, B, C pattern. We're looking at clutter breakers. We're looking at disruptive ideas. And I think ISDI students have that. They're ready to sort of get their hands dirty and, just get to work. I also think something that's really overrated is common sense. It's a great skill set to have. And we all have it. And I think, especially as interns, that's something we look forward to, that someone who takes responsibility, someone who sort of takes the reins into their own hands and has a certain level of decision making power in them. But of course, at the same time, they follow protocols, they follow the SOPs of the company. And whether it's putting everything on email and being organized, or whether it's literally just following up and updating. I think follow-ups and updates are so crucial when you are a team player and you're reporting to whoever your team head or manager is. And as I mentioned before, for me, honesty and integrity are two qualities I always look for. It's the vibe, it's the energy, because these are people you're going to spend a lot of time with, a lot of human hours with, probably more than you ever spend even with your family and friends. So they have to be people who you gel with, who you crack with, and whose energy is just exciting for you, where there is space for you to create. And I think that's really important from a culture perspective of an organization, and what you bring to the culture of the organization and how you contribute to it. So that's something that's been really great about ISDI students for me. Yeah, so that's about what I had to share about my journey. And I think there are some questions that are coming.
Yeah, so Archana, let me jump in right now. First and foremost, thank you so much. Thank you for so generously telling us about the many different facets of fashion styling, fashion business, and of course, other tips that are important for life itself. Very few speakers look and give such holistic, I wouldn't say advice, but real world tips. We've also appreciated this kind of, we've always been a very hands-on experiential school. So, these things are something that we always take back, would love to incorporate, and thank you for that lovely feedback. So this reinforces a lot of things that we do at school. Thank you very much for that. There are a few questions, in fact, quite a few questions that the students have for you. So can I request you to stay back for a little bit of time? And then, we will take those. In the meantime, I have two more of my great students to quickly take everyone through another two experiences that they've had. So the first one I'm going to, and this is going to be very quick, we're not going to take too much of anyone's time, but the next person that I want to introduce quickly is Bansuri Chandrana. Bansuri Chandrana is this really awesome person who is ready to take her a big plunge into the bridal market, not as a bride, but as a bridal entrepreneur. Watch out for her. She has something that is going to change and transform this huge bridal lucrative industry of ours. She's also had a great canvas of experiences that she's been with at ISDI. And I'm not going to take more time. So Bansuri, over to you. Let's hear it from you.
Hi, thank you so much for the introduction. So I'm Bansuri Chandarana, and I'm currently in my last year of fashion communication and styling. I'll be graduating this summer, and I have to share a few of my experiences with you. So Rahul Mishra happened right after my first year. I applied to all the places I could think of, and I was lucky to get in. The brand is a really strong visual language, and we had to adapt to it and bring out the essence of the brand itself. So my co-intern and I were the only ones interning for PR and communications for the brand. And we were solely responsible of translating the brand's vision into the social media campaigns. So we would go to the Karkhana every day and shoot the karigars and their entire process of embroidery. I was also exposed to celebrity sourcing then, which helped me in my latter internships. So I currently intern at Vanda Fashion Agency. Ma'am, you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So the agency started 3 years back and is already doing wonders. So I'm in charge of blogger collaborations, and the USP of the agency is that we have international brands and designers for sourcing, which isn't that readily available in India. So it is exciting yet nerve-wracking because there's a lot of hard work that goes into getting the right garment for the right person, like Archana rightfully said. So it feels great to be a mediator when big celebrities wear the brand's outfits. Ma'am, you can go to yeah. So I must say I was really lucky to go to London Fashion Week right at the right time because COVID had just started to spring up. So it was a great experience to be a part of because my friend and I, we got to be a part of this international world, which was outside India, and we got to meet a lot of people from the fashion fraternity, designers, photographers, stylists, models. So the event taught me the importance of teamwork because we were supposed to, like, three people were supposed to just one model so that they could come out on the ramp at the right time. And without each other, the task would have been incomplete. So Rocky Star was one of the Indian designers there, and now coincidentally, I work for the PR agency which works with him, and I think everything falls right in the right place at the right time. So I would just say thank you, Poonam ma'am, and good luck to all of you, and hopefully this program is what you need.
Thanks, Bansari. Thank you for that quick update on your experiences with the many different projects that you've done. Thank you for coming in. And now, of course, the finale. And like you say, save the best for the last. I'm going to give it over to Tanishq. You can look at the amount of work. Oh my God, Tanishq, you're the only guy who's worked with ICICI Bank. What does a person from fashion do with ICICI? But Tanishq, there's one thing about him. Look at him, the way there is personally, I think what Tanishq brings to fashion imagery is great, fabulous. I think he's an artist who's doing fashion. And I think he has this strong, impeccable darkness, mystery that is there in every project of his. That is something that I've always looked forward to whenever Tanishq has to present something or when he's working on something. Tanishq, over to you.
Thank you so much, Poonam ma'am. It's an honor to be here, honestly. Hey, you guys. I'm Tanesh Kojla. I'm in the senior year fashion communication styling program. And as a person, I really love telling stories and I keep exploring different ways of expressing myself, fashion being one of the many aspects. And speaking of fashion, I didn't really plan on getting into it in the first place. I mean, all this while I was always used to think that I'm going to get into product design. But eventually, in the end, I just signed up for the FCS course without any prior knowledge or experience whatsoever. I remember in the first few days of the course, this internship opportunity came up at LFW. And at the time, I didn't even know what LFW stood for. I mean, can you believe that? And I signed up for it anyway, like, but not, I mean, I didn't really put my hopes up high because, well, I didn't know what it was. But like, little to my notice, I mean, I did get selected for it. And among the a lot of people who applied for it, I got it. I didn't really think I was deserving, but still, I was excited for it. On the first day of LFW, I had to report to the event crew room where I was told that I had to edit videos for IGTV for the Lakme Fashion Week official page. And editing didn't really take much of my time. Most of my time was spent, just exploring the entire venue because I had this all access pass. So, which meant I could like literally go anywhere, like any show which I wanted. And like, I had a couple of friends who sort of introduced me to a lot of fashion brands, designers, influencers, celebrities, which got me like talking to them and sort of entirely broadened my perspective towards the entire industry as such. And it helped me gather like a lot of taste and like form opinions based off fashion. So but then once you like sort of work around the entire thing, you sort of get to know a lot of things which go behind the entire glamour that everyone must like might perceive in the start. And to some it might be like a letdown, but to some it might be like an eye opener. And I think it's hard work. Like I mean, I used to attend all the fashion shows, and before the fashion show even started, like they used to set up the entire venue. And you think they have everything together, like they have their shit together, but they're all over the place. But it's really hard work, like what goes on into making a single runway show. And on that note, I'll move on to the time where I had an assignment of fashion styling, and my initial idea, which I was like like it was like my baby, so I stuck to it till the end. But then once I pitched it to my faculty, they sort of rejected on the last day of the entire shoot, and I had to prepped for everything. and all my ideas, all my preparation went down the drain on that second itself, and which left me in a state of a limbo. And I mean, I had like a breakdown. I was like sort of roaming around the college campus, just thinking. I remember spending time in the fashion lab, and I'm like, let's just not stress it. I just went to my friend's place, and we had like a long conversation. And in the process, I sort of got to know her, and her sort of original story sort of helped me get inspiration for the next idea. And I try to make it concrete on that day itself. Like, I decided the look, I decided what story it's going to be like. And the next day, it was the day of the shoot. I had to miss one of my classes because I didn't really have the time to shoot. The submission was the next day. And I remember I spent half a day sort of, arranging for the studio. But then the studio had this policy that if you have to rent out the studio, you have to like tell them 3 days in advance. I'm like, I literally came up with an idea right now. I mean, I that's just not possible. So I mean, instead of stressing a lot, like even the model who was like supposed to be the one, she had to go places. So I'm like, I was stuck time bound, and I don't know if I cried that time, but I'm like, let's just not waste more time. So I told the model to just go get your makeup done and get into the outfit. So till the time she came out, I went to the stationery and I got a lot of things together. I remember getting this huge long roll of paper, and I just hunted classrooms which were already lit because I didn't even have the lights. So I went to this fifth floor sunlit area, and I set up like a DIY studio. And the entire shoot had to be done within 15 to 20 minutes because the college was also shutting down for the day. And I didn't really have the time to set up my entire camera, so I had to shoot it from the phone. But after all that hard work and chaos, my faculty actually really loved how it came out to be. And 3 months later, it got published in Vogue. I'm like, what? I mean, I didn't believe it. I mean, I don't know, but it was just so, I was awestruck at the point. So what I'm trying to say is like, a lot of things that you plan might not go in like the way you think it will, but you should think on the feet. I was this close to giving up, but then I'm like, I need to make this happen, and didn't really think much about the outcome. I sort of enjoyed the process, and like I enjoyed it. The process, I mean, the outcome sort of came up eventually, so I'm glad that worked out. So yeah, that's what I have to say. And I think everyone should just trust more, like let the subconscious mind sort of override the conscious mind, because it'll just keep overthinking over and over again. So you just go with the flow as such. So I just wish everyone good luck, and like do not stress over your outcome, just enjoy the process as much as you can. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tanishq. You always speak from the heart, and that is so lovely. Thank you for being here. I absolutely appreciate what you shared with us, each one of you. I hope we've not taken too much of the time, but we tried to create some sort of meaningful content, real content from the heart, real things that happen in this program. We are done from our side, and it's all over. I think
Thanks.
a bit.
I'll
All right.
take
Yes.
over.
Yes.
Thanks,
Thank you
Poonam.
so
That was
much.
lovely. I want to thank all the four lovely students, Archana, Poonam, you yourself, and Mahi also, who's been
Yes. Mahi has been there in
organizing this
the
event.
background and taking care of all the students and managing them here. So thanks a lot, Mahi. Sorry, I just.
So I've got a few quick questions that students have posted, and I'm going to take them up right away. And the first one is for you, Archana. And this is from another lovely student by the name of Niti Goradia. And Niti actually has three questions. Well, the first one that I want to ask you, and that occurred to me as well, is so many different people, right? And then you also said that don't bring in your personal element or your style into whom you're styling for. How do you switch off and switch on? And how do you read people? And how do you read what is their personality? And how do you really go around designing for so many different people?
That's a great question. I'm going to answer it slightly differently. A lot of times, students, interns, assistants always ask me, why do we need to do anything else besides styling? Why can't we just focus on that aspect of work? And actually, this is exactly the reason why, because the life skills that you learn when you just interact with people, you build relationships, you talk, you do customer feedback phone calls, or you're front facing, you're sitting in a client meeting, you're sitting at a ppm, which is a pre-production meeting before a shoot, and you're just absorbing, you're just listening to everything that's going on. That's where at least my training started, of just reading people. And which is why earlier, when there was a question that was asked, like, can you share something about yourself, and I said I am quiet and I'm more of a listener. Instead of constantly feeling the need to speak about what I think, and having a strong voice, I don't get threatened by that. I don't get but again, this is personal. And I don't feel the need to always have an opinion. But sometimes I think it's nice to just observe, soak it all in, take it all in, because that is where your self training. And as Tanish beautifully said, it is about bringing your subconscious mind and training that part of your mind to constantly understand. And once it becomes a habit, then you're reading people, you're understanding the fabric of who they are, you're understanding, what are they talking about, what are the references they're making to, how do they dress, and then of course the second half is your questions, the why, the what, the when, asking them certain questions, understanding and getting into their psyche. Because what you need to understand is that every person is unique, is different, has their own story to tell, and they are trusting you to help them tell that story for them. So it is very, very crucial that you curb yourself from saying, okay, but this is what I would do it if I were in your place, and rather than trying to just, instead of projecting yourself, trying to understand the other person, and it takes a shift of mind, and it takes training. And just get started on it. Don't again, don't overthink it. Just the more you do it, the better you'll get at it.
Archana, would you give us an example of how is it that you observe someone sitting out there and you read them, and what is it that you pick up, and how would you translate that into a design, a statement?
So a lot of this I also did. An actual example would be at Fashion Week. So when we're sitting, especially with Vogue, we would be sitting for 8-10 hours a day watching back-to-back shows. For some people it may seem like it's very glamorous, but when you're doing it for 5 non-stop days, day in and day out, it can be really, really taxing on your mind. But all you're doing, every time a model crosses you who's wearing a particular garment, you're breaking it down into trends. That's where all your training, everything that your faculty is possibly like training you for, the actual world out there, comes into play. Within a fraction of, I don't know, 10-15 seconds that you see a model cross, you have to break it down. What is this fabric, what is this technique, what's the surface texture, and then that's how you start training your mind. And then when you take it into real life, as you mentioned, can you tell me a real life example? There have been, for instance, my style, I would say, is very, very minimal, but I've had clients who are over the top, or who want to be bold, and they love color, and it's something that I don't like. But at the same time, as a professional, because I have the skill set for it, I should be able to deliver to any sort of a client, you know. And that's when you start picking on, which is why I said your process is very, very important. The questions you ask, the observations you make. I always carry, still take a notepad to every single meeting. I have my diary, and I'm always constantly like noting things down, because as a creative, my mind is working already. I'm thinking and visualizing of what I'm going to put this person into, but at the same time, I don't want to miss out on the detailing, so I'm constantly making notes, of this is what I observed. This angle looks better on them, and that of course comes from the styling and the editorial and the storytelling background as well, where you're looking at someone through a lens, and here I'm looking at them through a lens of a stylist.
Got that. Thank you, Archana. I've got another question from yet another student, and I'm actually going to ask you this question. And I'm also going to request Poonam to add and give a different perspective. And this is a student called Unnati Shetty, and she has a pertinent question, which is, I am in class 12 right now, and what is it that I can start to do even while I'm in grade 12, such that I can become a better stylist tomorrow? So I'm going to request you, Archana, to give your perspective of what can youngsters do while still in junior college or school. And Poonam, as an academic and somebody who's been in the industry, what do you think they can do to build a portfolio which is aligned towards fashion communication and styling?
Sure. So I'll go first. So first of all, Unnati, that's awesome that you have such clarity at such a young age. Hold on to this, because this is something that's gonna, give you a huge jump start in life. I think your question is very, very important, and it already shows me the kind of seeking spirit that you have. So definitely use all your free time where you're not obviously, studying for your 12th. To research, do your own research, educate yourself, keep learning, and most importantly, also try and do some summer internships in your vacations. Do some internships, styling internships, or whatever aspect of fashion that you want to pursue. And even if you're confused about exactly which one to pursue, I would say do 3 4 different internships with different people. So try and use this time to the optimum. And once you're done with that, and once you graduate and everything, and then decide on a course that you want to do. And of course, with everything that we've seen here at ISDI today, I mean, it is phenomenal. It is amazing how detailed all the courses are and how much they cover. So pick a course that suits you best, and then take it from there. But I'll let Poonam continue on to that.
Thanks, Archana. Of course, I absolutely believe, and
Hey, Poonam, just interrupting you. There's just
yeah.
another, I mean, if I can request you to add, and there's a related question which I think you should take, which is, how do we explore the field of styling? I mean, these are all exploratory work that they can do while, even before they come to the school, maybe.
Right. So I think, Archan's already answered a very important aspect of, how do you really prepare yourself for something that you like. I have a slightly different point also to add, because because I deal with so many students every day, one thing I totally respect about people is to have very genuine curiosity for what you want to build your career or your passion around. If you're passionate, you say, and then you're not curious about it, I'm sorry, I don't think so anybody takes that, right? So if it's truly passionate, then you will obviously be very curious about it. The second is, you learn great things by watching. I think let's not underrate observation. Students come to us, of course now we live in a very digitally agile world and everybody's watching, but I think take time from there and observe. I till date observe people. I till date sit and see what she wearing. I may not wear it. It's not something that it's my style, but there's a great fun involved in seeing what people wear. What are the personalities behind? Why are they wearing it in this manner? Real world offers you such great examples of learning. And that's what you should do. People have stopped looking. We are looking at very cliched things coming to us, all the time. The internet, Instagram is sending us images that are created by many people who have already have had a very strong eye about certain things. But what about those real, raw, new, novel things that life has to offer? So I think even, if by chance nothing works out, record this. Take pictures, write them down, sketch them, doodle it out, put keywords, mood board it, do all of these exercises. They're great fun, they're very therapeutic, and I think you should do. The other thing is, of course, what Archana said, if you can get to work with someone you admire, do it. Ask yourself, will I do it even if I have to go hungry? That's the kind of school of thought I come from. So I'm not too sure if I'm outdated, but if I like it, I'll go hungry for it. And I don't think so. You can go hungry, right? You're pretty young. You can survive life. So these are few of the things I personally think a student needs to do. We've forgotten. Our students have forgotten these things. It brings it. This develops great understanding about your craft and other things. But these are very important. This is what I would root for.
Thank you, Poonam. Go hungry, but go for it. I totally get that, and absolutely, I think styling definitely needs sort of an attitude for it. And I'm going to ask you a little question later. This is for Archana, Poonam, and for the rest of the students. But I'm going to ask this question a little later because that's my question, and you can think about it. It's really what real value does Mumbai have to offer to a stylist? Because I'm aware that the film industry is here, the television production happens here, the magazines are here, retail is here. But in your experience, and I'm assuming some of our students, like you mentioned, are not from Mumbai and they've come to us, so I'd love to hear from them as well. But before that, Archana, there's a question again from Neeti for you, which is, you talked about curated boxes. So she says, what was in the boxes and whom was it for? The Style Tracker curated boxes.
Sure, sure. So the boxes contain fashion head to toe. We had everything from clothes, accessories, beauty, um, just like fun things of lifestyle, that's just mixed in to suit your personality. And it is for everybody. There was absolutely no bias on who it's for. It is anyone and everyone who logs in, gives us their details, and the tech sort of what we worked on, the tech part of it was building this algorithm that can style. So that was a really exciting part for me, especially because it's about using everything that you've learned all these years and then putting it into these tech patterns and building all of that on the back end. And putting people into buckets, and then there are so many. I mean, it's over 500 or 1,000 touch points, on the back end, which of course the customer doesn't see on the front end. So yeah, and we shipped to about 150 cities pan India, and just getting all of this data was a really exciting exercise for me to because it opened my eyes to like have these certain insights. For instance, what kind of necklines do people prefer from different parts of the nation, and or how age group wise there are some age groups that prefer accessories and that absolutely don't, and it's the same across the country. So it was really really deep insights. And if you're a nerd like me, then and data excites you, then it would have been an exciting process for you as well.
Thank you for that. I'm inclined to ask what were preferences of neckline across the country, but that's for another time. And who prefers jewelry, and at what time in their age do they not like jewelry? But that's for another time. So Poonam and Archana and the students really Mumbai advantage. And meanwhile, there are questions about whether this session will be available to students. Yes, we will upload it on one of our YouTube channels, so you will have access. Going back to the question on Mumbai, Poonam, Archana, and the students.
If you permit, I'd like to go before, if both of you permit.
Absolutely, Poonam, you're the HOD.
Excited to say, but before you, that'll be. So first and foremost, what is Mumbai? What is Mumbai really? We need to think about it. A lot of people say Mumbai is an emotion and all that, all those things and all that. So what is Mumbai? I think Mumbai is a land of opportunities, right? It gives everybody a chance to relive their dreams, number one. The second thing is that if you look at Archana, all that you aspire is her, and she's done it at such a young age. I wonder if you would be able to do that from any other place in this country, Archana. So that's why I wanted to go before you. That kind of gives you the answer, Mumbai.
No, that's so true. You've actually summed it up so well. And at the cost of being a bit personal here, I mean, I'm a Bombay girl, born and raised, lived here all my life. And just a little anecdote about my life. I lost my father when I was 17, and it was a very crucial time, in my life. And he was someone who was who was pushing me to sort of pursue fashion, go abroad, think about it after your college. And after this sort of adversity happened to me, the one thing actually that I didn't want to let go of was home, and the reason being, as you said, Bombay for me was definitely an emotion, right? It was, and I call it Bombay because I come from that era in the 80s. But and you've actually said it so beautifully, Poonam, that it's all about the opportunities. I mean, I just think of it, and when I go out at night, I mean, sure, not during the pandemic, but pre-pandemic, I just everything I absorb around me, everything I see around me is an inspiration. There was recently the Mumbai Gallery weekend that happened, the art fest, and that is something that's so exciting for me to soak in and learn from. The entire industry that's here, some of the most amazing mentors I've had in the fashion industry who are all here. Their setups are here, having that insight and that access to even view it and learn from that. So it has been holistic. It has not just been about fashion and styling, and that's why my approach to everything in life is that there has to be passion, there has to be drive, there has to be a strong connect. And as you rightly said, Poonam, that Bombay for a lot of people is an emotion, and for me that is what it is. And it is the land to be free. I see the way people express themselves through their fashion here, and it brings me joy. Literally, like looking out of my window when I'm going from point A to point B. And that is the essence of Bombay. Just to have that freedom to be exactly who you are and to express yourself just the way you want. Yeah.
Thanks, Poonam, and thanks, Archana. But the students like to give their insights
I'm
as well.
feeling Bombay sick right now. I can make out from her face. Would you like to take this question? Currently, you're not in Bombay, so.
So I come from Ahmedabad, which is completely different from what Bombay is. Bombay never sleeps, whereas Ahmedabad is pretty slow in its life. Okay, so if I have to describe Bombay, this is beautiful chaos that I want to be a part of. Like you said that you need to go out of your comfort zone because that's where the magic happens. That Mumbai is the magic zone for me. So it's my way of stepping out of my comfort zone, which is my home as well, and trying to make the most out of it. So yeah.
Okay, so Bombay for me, I have like a love and hate relationship with it, but I still call it Bombay because I love it in a way. um, I haven't really been much around in the country as much as Bombay, so every time I step out, it's always so boring, but it's yet peaceful. I like that, but I wouldn't be able to survive outside. I think anyone can do everything over here, and I think the city has something to offer for everyone. Um, that's what I think. Everyone can do themselves without even considering any more backlash or whatever it is. I mean, offending people is one that's always there, but still, I mean, as compared to the stories that I've heard, like maybe from Rajasthan or something, I think it's so open-minded as compared to every other state in this country. So yeah, I hate it because of the traffic and too many people at once. I just don't like so many people around me. So I hate it.
Yeah, Bombay actually. Yes, you're right. Yes, so that's Bombay for all of us.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to take the last question, really, Archana, because we've well exceeded our time, and this one's for you. If you were to take an intern in your team, what are some of the things that you would be looking for while you interviewed them?
So it's actually similar to the question I answered about the students. It would be someone who is eager to learn, who's enthusiastic, who has great fresh ideas and is confident enough to share them and talk about them. Because a lot of times we all get nervous, we all get shy, we all don't understand protocols and we don't know. But I would always, always, always encourage you to speak up. If you're not the type to speak up in a forum or in front of people, that's fine. Reach out in your own ways, put it on an email, ask for a private meeting with someone, but share, because only when you share and only when you talk about what's actually going on in your mind is when someone else is going to understand you truly. And a good leader will always hone that skill set in you and give you the correct guidance and the direction that you need. So it's also important to be a team player. That's what I look for when I'm hiring. And as I said, someone who is willing to, especially in an organization or when you're joining a company, there will always be certain protocols and certain SOPs, which are system operating procedures, which everyone needs to follow. And it's nice to have someone who quickly adapts, and sticks to whatever the human resources team is trying to get out of them. But at the same time, I encourage feedback, reviews, sharing, even honestly, and something from your heart. It's always appreciated. And the culture of a company is something that's very sacred to any organization, and how you fit in into that culture is going to be really, really key, based on the kind of responsibility you're willing to take, to be part of this team. So yeah, so nothing like honesty and integrity while hiring.
Human skills. Thanks, Archana. Thanks everyone for joining today's session. Thanks all the students for joining in and listening in into a career in fashion communication and styling. This was the last of these 5 series of dialogues on design, and we've covered one stream of what ISDI offers by way of their specializations. We will come back with our industry speak session, which will be launched sometime next week. And if you're part of our database, you will get the communication. Do try and attend as many as possible. There's just one question, I'll take that, which is, are you certain that the school will start offline on 17th July? Yes, I promise you, so long as you come to Mumbai vaccinated, yes, we will start. You will get the recordings online, and yes, very happy new year to everyone, and thank you once again to all the lovely students, both from ISDI, Mahi, all the students who joined in, Poonam, Archana, for this wonderful session. Abhyuday, thank you for organizing this. Till we all meet again. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Archana. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye. Bye.